Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to a special wrestling edition of the Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Professional wrestling. Obviously, I know a lot of it, storyline is fake. Don't get me wrong. I don't believe it all. But you know what? The physical ability it takes to do what these guys do in the ring, what they put their bodies through, is real. It's damn real. When I watch professional wrestling, when I look at the world champion, the big dog of the ring, every organization has one. Since wrestling began, there's always been that world champion. They put him up here than is everybody else. What makes a great world champion? Well, when I watch wrestling, I look for four keys to any performer. Any of these guys winning the title, especially the world title, I look at in-ring ability. Plain and simple. Can they get it done in the square circle? Period. Number two, I look at mic skills. Obviously, as a champion, you have to promote yourself. You have to sell yourself to the crowd. Either you be face or you be heel. You have to either paint the crowd as a face or you got to bash the crowd as a heel. Just their overall, and then number three, their overall character. Is their character believable? You know, you look in the past, some of the champions, a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yes, that character was believable because that was him, a beer-drinking redneck. You look at The Undertaker's character, just the dead man walking, just the persona that, just when the music hits and the lights go out, just everybody, you get that hair on your arm standing up, that just goosebump feeling because you know something magical is getting ready to happen. You look at, some of the songs, Shawn Michaels, Think I'm Sexy. That song hits, you automatically know this guy's coming out, The Rock. You smell, just when it starts, Stone Cold, the glass breaks. There's certain songs these guys have that you just know that person's coming out. You just get awestruck by him. And number four, charisma. You gotta have charisma in the wrestling business to sell yourself, to follow all four of these. I say that to say this. In the past 20 years in WWE, just WWE in the last 20 years, from 1994 to 2014. And remember, from 2002 to 2013, there was two world champions, the world champion and the WWE champion. And then they recently unified them. Obviously, when WWF bought WCW, they had a unification then. So I'm going from 94 on just the WWE side. So anybody that did anything in WCW, I'm not counting that. This is just the WWF World Title until 2001, then the WWE World Title from 2001 to 2014, and then the WWE World Title that was on SmackDown. It was first given to Triple H in 2002 by Eric Bischoff to 2013 when they had unification, Randy and John Cena. So that's the parameters I'm looking at. During that time, the WWE has had 39 world champions. 14 of those world champions were a one and done. You would call them one-hit wonder. Some of these guys that only had the title once, they weren't one-hit wonders completely. They had a impressive career before 1994. They were just given the title during whatever thing they were doing, whatever, the storyline they were involved in, they were given the title and they lost it right back. I'll go over those guys now. But Bob Backlund, obviously he's a world champion through and through. Only held the title once during this time. Big Daddy Cool Diesel, again, world champion, went on the WCW, multi-time world champion. Kevin Nash, also known as Hulk Hogan, obviously Hogan. We know what he's done in his career. Mr. McMahon was a world champion at one point. The late Eddie Guerrero was a world champion in his time. JBL, RVD, which was a Money to Bank cash-in. The Miz, which is a Money to Bank cash-in. The Great Khali, that was a bad time in wrestling. He was a world champion. Five-time WCW champion Booker T was a world champion, Hall of Famer. The late Chris Benoit was a world champion during this time. I believe that was at WrestleMania when he won his world championship. Goldberg had a title, little run with Lesnar. Goldberg had when he was in WWE. Jack Swagger, Money to Bank cash-in. Mark Henry, unfortunately, the world champion. Take those guys, a lot of those guys either was a veteran, winning the title one last time, or it was kind of those one and done, Money to Bank cash-ins like an RVD, Miz. Now the top 25 guys have held the world title at least twice. Now think about what I said. When I'm watching wrestling, 4 main keys: in-ring ability, mic skills, character development, overall charisma. Those are my 4 basics. If you got other basics you look at, please, comment and let me know. Because there might be something I'm overlooking. I know when J-Man and I talk about wrestling, a lot of the guys, we have a lot of the same guys we like, a lot of the same matches we like, but there's always differences, One main difference is a TNA triple threat match. Phenomenal AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. They had a triple threat X Division match, Unbreakable, and main event, first time X Division ever main event in pay-per-view. And Justin thinks that match, 06 Unbreakable, was just phenomenal. I think it was a phenomenal match too, but I was partial to the 09 World Title match. The same 3 guys. I thought it was better. Turning Point 09. So it's like, him and I go back and forth on what parts of what matches was better. But, typically, a lot of wrestling fans, when you're around somebody a lot, just like Quaddy, you guys, when Quaddy and Jamin and I from Pro Wrestling Pulse, when we do a video and we're talking about wrestling, watching a pay-per-view, we all have a similar idea of what we like, what we don't like. And the 3 of us, even Krista when she's watching, we don't vary too much from each other, maybe a little bit on a few guys, but typically the main guys we all like. We all have the same kind of what we look at in a match. So the top 25, obviously these guys that were 2-time champions. Kane was a 2-time champion. He fits some of that, doesn't fit some of it. Sid Vicious was a 2-time champion. Here's one of the most disappointing 2-time champions, Christian. The instant classic, Christian. In TNA, instant classic Christian Cage. Captain Charisma, Throw Up the Seas, the kayfabe storyline, brother of Edge, both from Canada, knew each other their entire life. You look at Edge as a 10-time world champion, and Christian was a 2-time champion. They were 9-time tag team champions together. Christian also won the tag titles with Chris Jericho. And just even what Christian did recently in the last pay-per-view, just having that, peep show with Jericho out there, and then Randy on Titantron. I mean, I'm all for just those 3 guys having a feud for the title for a while. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, I believe in what Christian can do in the ring. He follows all 4 of those by far, if not exceeding them. Just Vince doesn't see it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. He has the ability to do it. I just don't understand it. But, it is what it is. Dolph Ziggler, 2-time champion again. I think he fits all 4 of my keys. He's one of those diamonds in the rough that just needs polished a little bit. He needs kind of a mentor. I know factions aren't real big now. They just sometimes have like 1 or 2 factions. They don't do it like they used to do where there's like 50 factions. I think if they came up with a faction with Dolph, kind of as the up-and-comer, maybe with Randy, maybe put him in authority with Randy and Tyler, and having Kane kind of a 4-way faction or break away from Steph and Tripp. I think it would work. I think you got to have something that you can kind of give Dolph a rub off of. I know he's got the IC title now, and they keep kind of doing things with that. But, Dolph has been a world champion twice. He's cashed in Money in the Bank. He's believable as a world champion. Unfortunately, unlike our current world champion. Rey Mysterio, 3-time world champion. When I think of Rey Mysterio Jr., I don't think of a world title. I think of the Cruiserweight title in WCW. I think of 96 when Kevin Nash picked him up and threw him in the trailer like a lawn dart. That's what I think of when I think Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry. Or when he's tried to, do his jump off the 450 or something, or just some springboard into an RKO. Those are the little things about Rey Mysterio. And a 450 into a super kick. Or just, him being a spot monkey sometimes, doing kind of crazy stuff. That's what I think of when I think of Rey Mysterio. Kind of like a current day Kofi Kingston. You talk about spot monkeys and jumping around and doing crazy things. There's a guy who's never been a world champion that, at least in my eyes, has earned respect enough to at least be in a title match of some sort. So some of the stuff they make him do in Royal Rumbles and ladder matches, but yet they never give him the, prize. They let a Great Khali be a world champion, and they don't let Kofi Kingston? Come on. Sheamus, 3-time world champion. Obviously, he's doing some stuff right now with the U.S. title. He's looking good. Obviously, when he first won his first world title, TLC pay-per-view, in the tables match against John Cena, and Cena fell through the table. It actually, to me, and I said this for a long time afterwards, it looked like Cena fucked up and just fell on the table. I was rewatching it, looked at, he was supposed to, when they're trying to build Sheamus up at the time, the unknown guy beating John Cena, but it looked bad too, the fall did. It's like, did he just fuck up? I mean, John Cena fucks up a lot. But, three-time champion, Mr. Marijuana himself, Jeff Hardy. I'm sorry, when you go to a pay-per-view main event for the world title and you're high as a fucking kite, you can't even walk to the ring, and your main event is a minute and 20 seconds long, and Sting does 3 moves and the match is over, and you can tell Sting is pissed off because you're fucking high as a kite, and you're still in wrestling, I don't get it. Don't get it at all. The only thing I liked about Jeff Hardy was some of the epic promos that CM Punk cut on him when they had their little feud. About prescription drugs, Jeff. You know about them. Just CM Punk being CM Punk and just having the straight edge versus the drug guy. It was great. And just watching some of the TLC days with the Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, just seeing Edge come off of, and just that spear he did on Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's holding onto the belt and Edge spears him. That was just some sick stuff back then. I know the TLC match and stuff wouldn't be the same without the Hardys, but Jeff, and some of the stuff him and Matt Hardy put on YouTube, some of the videos, and they're high as a kite and Waffle House, and they're bashing people like CM Punk and stuff. It's like, guys, get a fucking clue in life. You had the world in your hands, and you fucking smoked it. Mankind, 3-time champion. He would say when Mankind won his first world title, that was the beginning of the end for the WCW. And for those of you who haven't heard the story, Raw was taped back in the day and Nitro was live. Tony Schiavone was talking about what was going on in Raw, kind of giving spoilers because it was taped. And he made the statement that over on Raw right now, Mankind is world champion. I think they said like 2 million people went clicked over to Raw to see what was going on. Yeah, that was the beginning of the end of Nitro, it seemed like. It seemed like that one phrase, everybody clicked over and they didn't click back. Monday Night Wars, WCW won for like 80-some weeks straight. And that was one of the moments that's like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't have done that. 4-time champion Daniel Bryan. Oh my god, if you've ever seen videos on any show I've done, I love Daniel Bryan. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. It's so sad that he was able to main event WrestleMania. As that WrestleMania 30, he main evented it, won the world title. Just as far as Tripp pushed him down, well, leading up to WrestleMania 30 and then that first match, him beating Tripp, getting in the main event, no matter what Tripp threw at him, he was able to overcome it and become a champion. It was just a breathtaking watching a guy like that who was on the indie circuit for so long and then got crapped on by WWE for so long, finally, broke through as a world champion. Just seeing stuff he did in Ring of Honor, stuff he did with, Tyler Black, and stuff he did with Nigel McGuinness, and finally seeing it on the greatest stage of them all, WrestleMania 30. It was just heart-touching after the bad night that was. Horrible night earlier in the card, but that moment was just, those are the moments you'll know remember where you're at. Alberto Del Rio, 4-time world champion. Sad to see him get released. I know he said a racial slur to the, whatever the hell this person was backstage, the social media director. I don't know what was said. Maybe some of you out there know what was said. I don't know what was said. Did he deserve to be fired over it? I don't know. I can't say I wouldn't have fired him. That was my company. But when you have guys like a John Cena cuss out a lady backstage, I believe it was here in St. Louis several years ago, or you have, Randy slap a fan or stuff like that, and you fire Del Rio for that, when there's people on your roster like a Great Khali that suck, there's a Heath Slater on your roster, there's an Adam Rose on your roster, there's a fucking bunny rabbit jumping around on your roster, and you fire Del Rio, and you fire Drew McIntyre. Some of the stuff doesn't make sense to do, but, again, I don't own $1 billion wrestling company, so I don't know. Brock Lesnar, 4-time champion. and current champion. Whew. Yeah. Oh, for those people out there that watch Pro Wrestling Pulse and you can call me Brock Lesnar, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not fucking Brock Lesnar. I'm nothing like fucking Brock Lesnar. I can talk. He can't. I don't get all fucking red. Look like I'm getting ready to have a heart attack. My head's gonna fucking explode for being in the match for like 2 seconds. I don't sweat fucking gallons of sweat like he does. I don't like Brock Lesnar. I hate him. Next on the list, Chris Jericho, Y2J. Wow. Great lead into him, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Cruiserweight champion, first ever undisputed champion, the only man ever to beat The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night. Become the undisputed world champion. He fits all my standards. Easy, love him. One of the greatest of all time. He needs to be doing more in wrestling than he does right now. Just when he comes out, just the little spurts we get at Jericho, I guess. It's kind of like Taker, that one time of year at WrestleMania, kind of like some reference I used about Taker was like Taker's like a fine wine. Jericho is kind of like that, selective wine or a bourbon or something that you just have once in a while. You just bring it out, you enjoy it, you put it away. And, a few months later, you bring it out, you enjoy it, you put it away. That's what Chris Jericho is. He comes out, he'll do, run with Bray Wyatt, which was awesome stuff he did. Then he does, a couple things with Randy Orton, had a little in-ring conversation with Jericho or Christian, and then, he goes away for a little while, and they'll bring him back out, do something else with him, with maybe a young guy, kind of help build a young guy up. Jericho's good with that. He likes doing that kind of stuff. Big Show, from what Big Show was when he first came in 1995 in WCW as the Giant, managed by Jimmy Hart, to what he is now is completely different. Back then, he could do drop kicks, he could do this, he was more athletic. This is just a big guy that choke slams. Okay. He knocks people out. He's a boxer. Come on, really? Yeah. Next guy on the list, the Heartbreak Kid. That's all you gotta say, the Heartbreak Kid. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He is not the greatest wrestler of all time. He is number 2 on that list. And if he is not number 2 on the greatest of all time list, I don't know who the hell's on your list. WrestleMania 25. I think he was 40-something, so was Undertaker. One of the greatest matches of all time. When has Shawn Michaels had a match that wasn't phenomenal? The stuff he did with Bret Hart. Oh my God. The Montreal Screwjob. You remember when Bret screwed Bret? Just stuff he did with Taker is, you could put Shawn Michaels in there with anybody, and it would be a good match. You could put him in there with a tree, and he would do the best he could. Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Him and Diesel had some great matches. The ladder match at WrestleMania 10 with Razor Ramon. You put Shawn and Tripp in a TLC match, TLC pay-per-view DX, and it looked good. Shawn Michaels, that kind of guy, you can do anything with him. He's that good. Next on the list, Bret the Hitman Hart, 4-time champion during this time. Again, another one of those guys. Fits all my accolades. Bret Hart at the time, best there was, best there is, best there ever will be. If it just wasn't for his, divorce from Vince and thinking the grass was greener at WCW, I think Bret Hart would have been one of the greatest WWE superstars ever, period. Bar none. But, the Montreal Screwjob happened, and he went on to WCW, and the things he did back in the early 90s was he was from Canada, Team Canada, and his dad had the dungeon. It's just a lot of the anti-American stuff they did back then was just epic. Him blowing his nose on the freaking flag, and just the heat that he got. Him saying he wouldn't wrestle in the United States, he'd only wrestle in Canada. When they did all that stuff, it was just for heat, and they got it. I would love to see more late Attitude Era stuff with Shawn and Bret, but when Bret went off to WCW, was U.S. champion, didn't really achieve that superstardom like he was in WWF. Number 10 on the list, 5-time champion Kurt Angle. What more is there to say? It's Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist. He's one of the premier wrestlers in the business in this time. Obviously, in recent years, he's had neck injuries and other injuries, and it's kept him out of action a lot. It's sad. He was, probably one of the greatest mat wrestlers, German suplex guys ever. I know the little run he had with Brock Lesnar back in 2002, 2003 was actually some good stuff. Watching Brock Lesnar trying to do shooting star press, about damn near broke his neck. But that was good stuff. Brock could wrestle a Kurt Angle, mat wrestle. Kurt can do that kind of thing, number 9 on the list, 5-time champion, the one, the only, straight edge superstar, CM Punk. Is there anybody that fits these 4 criteria better than CM Punk? When CM Punk was face, he had the entire crowd eating out of his hand. When he was heel, he had the entire crowd booing him. 2010 Elimination Chamber in St. Louis. I was there. Jamie was right next to me. We had the only 2 CM Punk signs in the building. And you know what? 17,000 people booing CM Punk? We weren't. We were cheering him. Because you know why? We know how good he was. We don't care that he's saying and says, I'm sure that means I'm better than you. He'd call out fat people I'm big, don't get me wrong. He would call out people, drinking beer. He would call out people, smoke, and he'd say, say this, that, and the other. And it's like, you believe what he says. Like I said, the only 2 CM Punk signs in that building. J-Man's sign said Punk equals God. Okay, I'm good with that. Mine said CM Punk, Chicago made, straight edge, and whatever else, it said something else. But I also had the words moved around enough where it spelled out ROH down the middle, a different color. He looks at our signs, he turned his head, looked right at those 2 signs, and just smiled. You know what, as a wrestling fan, when I know a wrestler, the level of CM Punk is looking at my sign and smiles, I was all good with that. The only moment I've had in wrestling that would beat that moment was WrestleMania 25. I had a Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels sign that said HBK, Mr. Main Event, Mr. WrestleMania, and something, another word, and then at the very bottom it said Streak Break. Each box, Mr. Main Event, check mark. Mr. WrestleMania, check mark. I had 3 check marks and the box open. It never got shown at WrestleMania 25. The lead up to WrestleMania 26, all the promos, Taker and Shawn, they showed my poster. They showed the poster J-Man had that said Streak Break Kid. It was on the promos 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Had it on my DVR, deleted it off my DVR. I've yet to see it since. And there's all kinds of little moments. When you're a wrestling fan, you go to these events, you see yourself on TV holding the sign. The greatest wrestlers was the best wrestlers of the 2000s or whatever the DVD is. It has Alex Riley talking about Edge. You see me and J-Man with J-Man's Edge poster. I've seen multiple posters. I'm on multiple DVDs like that. Hard Justice 08. J-Man and I went to the Impact Zone. So just seeing videos like that, seeing yourself on there, sign rooting for your favorite wrestler. There's nothing, nothing like it. The CM Punk signs that I've made over the years and J-Man's made and stuff. And next on the list, we have 6-time champion Batista. Dave. Blue Dave, the last time we seen him, they bring Dave in this year thinking that was the end-all for WrestleMania 30, and it really wasn't. Thinking we can have Evolution feud in 2014 and people will love it. When I put Evolution back together, everybody, oh my God. People went bonkers over that. You just hear the Evolution song, it's like, holy shit. It was that, shocking, that, kind of reaction. That's my dog. Next on the list, we have 6-time champion Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mr. Redneck himself. The ultimate anti-boss, anti-establishment kind of guy. Corporate Stone Cold and just everything that Stone Cold Vince did. The time that fact he stunned Vince for the first time and people just went, oh my God, crazy. Everybody wanted to do that to their boss and Stone Cold did it. Just everything that Stone Cold did. Drinking beer in the ring, the beer truck, coming out and stoking the Rock and Vince with beer, the Zamboni incident, filling Vince's Corvette full of concrete. It was just, that's what made that Stone Cold character so great. Is he could wrestle in the ring. He wasn't the greatest in-ring wrestler, but you know what? He beat technical wrestler Bret Hart, one of the greatest submission wrestlers of all time, at WrestleMania in a submission match. He's won ladder matches. He's won all kinds of matches. But you know what? He got the job done. Promos, oh my God. He had the in-ring ability. He had the mic skills. He had the character development. Good God. That Stone Cold character just kept building and building through the Attitude Era. He was one of the sparks of the Attitude Era. Charisma. He's still oozing with charisma. I know there's all kinds of rumors out there that, every year right around WrestleMania, Stone Cold, one more match, Stone Cold. He said he's got one more match in him. He could do it at WrestleMania if the right guy came along. There's only one guy. There is only one guy that should ever wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin. Take the two guys. There's two guys that can wrestle Stone Cold at a WrestleMania that Stone Cold would trust to wrestle him. One, everybody knows it, straight edge himself, CM Punk. What would be better than the straight edge savior CM Punk returning and doing promos with the beer drinking redneck Stone Cold Steve Austin? Start right after Rumble, lead up to WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania with those two guys. Oh my God, that'd be some great stuff. Unfortunately, Punk will probably never return to WWE. Sad but true. It is what it is. Another great opponent for Stone Cold might be Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. I could deal with that. Shawn and Stone Cold, doing it one more time. That'd be a cool match. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about the next guy in WrestleMania 31 after what happened last year. The dead man, The Undertaker. Taker says he's healthy enough to wrestle WrestleMania 31. He says he doesn't remember a lot about WrestleMania 30, which is sad. Unfortunately, when you're in the ring with a animal like Lesnar, who doesn't take other people's health in regards to what he's doing, he thinks that because he is the beast incarnate that he can do what he wants. Unfortunately, he got The Undertaker hurt. Unfortunately, The Undertaker had a concussion, and he was barely able to walk out of the arena. Unfortunately, he did lose. That's one of those moments in wrestling that you'll remember where you're at. I'll never forget that ever. I remember where I was at, Bash at the Beach, when Hogan turned heel. I remember where I was at when Owen Hart was unfortunately killed in the ring at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. And I remember where I was at Mercedes Superdome when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. That arena, I know a lot of you probably watched it on WWE Network, or if not were there, I've seen highlights of it. That arena was quiet. It was that quiet in that arena. Because you're looking at the ring going, what just happened? I went there with Krista and J-Man and Quaddy and B-Daddy J, and J-Man and I are looking at each other and looking around going, what just happened? Neither of us could speak. It was a 10-hour car ride back from New Orleans. We talked about that almost the entire time. We talked about how bad it was, then we talked about what could come of it. And you've seen the video, I've all seen the videos of what could come of this. Sting, he supposedly signed a contract. I know he doesn't have a merchandise contract. He does have the game contract. Sting wants to wrestle at WrestleMania. Taker wants to wrestle at WrestleMania. People want to see that match for years. Here's how you set it up. I've already said it once. I'll say it again for the ones who didn't see the earlier video. Okay, you have Triple H. You have Mr. McMahon, Stephanie McMahon. I don't care. Two of the McMahons, one of the McMahons, a fucking McMahon. I don't care which one. Come out and say, okay, tonight we have, for the first time ever on Monday Night Raw, an icon, a legend. You bring out Sting. Sting comes out. He pimps the WWE Network. You can go to the WWE Network for $9.99 a month, and you can see all my WCW pay-per-views. You can see all my stuff I did in WCW. You can see the rise and fall of WCW. You can see this about WCW. You can see how great I used to be. And then you say, you know what? Tripp, Vince, Steve, whoever's out there with him, say, you know what? I'm here in WWE for the first time ever. First time I've ever been on Raw. I have a dream. I want to wrestle at the granddaddy of them all. The The one event that I've never been to, I want to wrestle at WrestleMania. And have Tripp go, you know what, Sting? Whatever you want, Sting, you can have. Who would you like to wrestle at WrestleMania, Sting? Sting goes, you know, I want a guy that I've had a history with. I want a guy that I know I can go out there and put a show on for the fans. Yeah, I'm not the greatest wrestler anymore. I'm 58 years old, 59 years old. But there's a guy backstage that I want to wrestle. Have Big Daddy Cool Kevin Nash come out. Kevin Nash and Sting have been friends for years. Have him come out. Have Kevin Nash come out and say, you know what, Sting? I got one more match in me. Let me wrestle you your first WrestleMania. I've wrestled at WrestleMania before. I've made it in WrestleMania. Sting will be like, no, Kevin. You and I have done it before. We've had a great history. That, you know, the past is in the past. There's a guy backstage right now I want to wrestle. Have Booker T, Hall of Fame Booker T come out. You know, have Booker T go, Sting, you know what, you and I have got history. Let's do this. One more time, me and you. Sting, no Booker. There's a guy backstage that, you know, I got respect for that I've never faced before. I want to face him. My first ever WrestleMania debut and my only WrestleMania. There's a guy that I want to wrestle. Have Diamond Dallas Page come out. Yeah, they've had history, WCW days, great. You know, it was great times. You know, having, you know what, we're friends DDP, but no, there's one guy backstage. Have the lights go out. Complete darkness. Have just the music come, the smoke. Have the dead man walk out. Undertaker. Walk in the ring. Tip his cap, his hat, the Sting. Having, you know, that voice he has. Sting. I'm going to wrestle you at Wrestling. I'm going to face you at your first ever WrestleMania. Have Sting go, Undertaker, it'd be a pleasure. Shake his hand. Undertaker walk away. Sting's got his match. Undertaker versus Sting, WrestleMania 31 in Santa Clara, California. Done. WWE will never do anything that cool and that awesome. They'll probably put Sting in the match against some fucking jobber. Or they'll put Taker in a match with somebody fucking gonna get him hurt like they fucking did last year. And that's not ever be that cool. They let Brock fucking Lesnar beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania? Really? I know, Undertaker, it was up to him when the streak was over. He is the one that said he probably wanted Brock Lesnar to win. But Undertaker has said before that, yes, I am a UFC fan. I wanted to wrestle. If UFC would have been around when I got broke into wrestling, I would not be into wrestling, I'd be in UFC. He's a big Brock Lesnar fan. He went to UFC and had that confrontation with Brock Lesnar. I get that. That's what Taker wanted. But you know what WWE is trying to do now is take the fact that Lesnar beat Taker and then build some guy up to beat Lesnar. So it's the guy that beat Taker. I mean, trying to give some future guy a rub off Lesnar. The rumor is, everybody knows what the rumor is, Roman Reigns. That's what I think about Roman Reigns being a world champion. I just want to I just want to bomb it. We got 5 more names on this list, and then I'll get to who I think should win the Royal Rumble this year. That should go on to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar, the Beast in Carnage, and become a world champion at WrestleMania 31. There's only one guy that should do this. He's never been a world champion. He's never held a title in WWE. He's part of a faction currently. I think now the story he tells, his in-ring ability, mic skills, character, charisma. Let me get through these top 5 here, and then I will go on to who that is. Number 5, The Rock. Obviously, he fits all 4 characters by far. Number 4 on the list, 10-time world champion, Edge. There's only 4 guys that have held the title in double digits, 10 or more times. Edge, 10-time world champion. One of the greatest champions of all time. Would I not love a Edge return match versus Christian? Woo-hoo. I don't want Edge to do that. Edge is retired. His neck injury. He's a Hall of Famer. He needs to stay. Beats exactly what he's doing. I'm good with that. I'm good with the memory. 12-time champion Triple H, COO of WWE right now. When I want to see Triple in a match again? No. Do I think he gets all 4 of these? Yeah. I didn't like Tripp back in the day, back in the Attitude Era. But he did fit all these. I mean, he's really good in the ring. His mic skills are phenomenal. His character development over time, the King of Kings, was just epic. Just watching, wow, I got him, but I ain't dead. Motor Gear. I think his name of the group, whatever the name of the group is that sings the song, Singing in the Ring Live. I've seen it before. It's just epic. Motorhead, my bad, Motor Gear. You're all laughing at me now. Motorhead, my bad. Just the character Triple H has played over the years is epic. 12-time champion Randy Orton, the Viper, the Legend Killer, whatever whatever nickname you want to give him, has just been epic. 12-time champion. Number 1 on the list, 15-time champion, John Cena. Is John Cena, should he be number 1 on a list like this? Because it's based on a number of titles, yes. Overall ability, no. Does he fit all 4 of these? In a way, yes. What you gotta know about John Cena, in just my opinion, a lot of times if you've seen my videos over the years with Pro Wrestling Pulse and IWR show, you've seen me do, he's got, he does this. Means he's got 3 moves, 0 talent. When he's wrestling a guy like a Jeff Hardy, or if he's wrestling a guy like a Batista, it's garbage. Because John Cena wrestles to the ability of his opponent. Plain and simple. If he's wrestling a CM Punk, it's a 5-star match. If he's wrestling a Great Khali, it's a garbage fest. John Cena is as good as his opponent is. So you put him in there with a CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2011, 5-star match. Legit. Dave Pelter, 5-star match. You put him in the ring with a Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30, really good match. You put him in there with a Rock. It was alright. It was a decent match, better than some of the matches John Cena's had. But just, he has to be in that ring with somebody as good as he is. Obviously, when you put him in the match with Brock Lesnar, you get 16 fucking Lesnar suplexes and 16-minute match and just this fucking squash job. Then you finally have the Golden Boy, the Chosen Boy, John Cena, beating up Brock Lesnar. And then you would think when Seth Rollins comes out and stomps Lesnar's face into the mat and tries to cash in Money in the Bank, you would think John Cena would have let him. I'm just saying. To get title off of him. But no, John Cena had to stick his fucking nose in where it didn't belong and stop him. Thank God he didn't lose the briefcase. But still, and then now you read online that Lesnar is not scheduled for appearance the rest of the year. Are you fucking kidding me? We're going to have 3 more pay-per-views this year without the world champion? That is fucking garbage. I'd rather see John Cena as champion than fucking Brock fucking Lesnar. But you know what? Whatever. Here's what I want to happen now. I've gone through these guys. The vast majority of these guys fit the 4 keys to a world champion. So obviously, for the most part, WWE gets what I'm saying here. They've done it. It's not something where I just thought, hey, I like these 4 things. Other people do. Obviously, WWE does because a lot of their champions fit this mold, except for the current champion. So here's what you do. You have this guy. Oh yeah, I never told you this guy's name, have I? I know there's fans out there watching this show going, I know exactly what you're talking about. I ain't talking about Roman Reigns. I'm not talking about Seth Rollins. I'm not talking about Dean Ambrose, which Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, 2 of my favorite wrestlers I'd love to see him as champion. There's only one guy I'm talking about right now. Bray Wyatt. Yes, I said Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt of the Wyatt family. Oh yes. I want to see Bray Wyatt as WWE World Heavyweight Champion, WrestleMania 31. What would be better? Watching this guy as champion, the mic skills he has? Especially the rumor of breaking up the Wyatt family and turning him face? Wow. Yeah, that would be some epic stuff. You know what? You can turn John Cena heel. We've already seen Bray Wyatt and John Cena at WrestleMania. Why not see Bray Wyatt go to WrestleMania 31 and win the title? Then do a little angle with John Cena and Bray Wyatt face, turn John Cena heel. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? John Cena is wearing red and yellow. Who's the last big face to wear red and yellow? Yes, I am talking about Hulk Hogan. What did Hulk Hogan do? Biggest heel turn in the history of wrestling. Black and white. So here's what you do, people. Keep John Cena like he is until Dean and Bryan comes back. Dean and Bryan comes back. Of course, Dean and Bryan walks out. That place is just going to explode with the yes, yes, yes. So here's what you do. You have Dean and Bryan come out. The crowd goes crazy. You have John Cena come out. Have John Cena, shake his hand, welcome back. We missed Dean and Bryan. Dean and Bryan, John Cena, we need to do this again. Blah, 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 blah. And then have Dean and Bryan go, you know what? Yeah, John Cena, I'd love to wrestle you again. But have John Cena go, you know what? There's only one thing, Daniel. Just hit the fucking attitude adjustment on. Or fucking get a pull bat at him with a bat or a chair or just something. Just attack him. Just leave him fucking nothing in the ring. Would that not just have people going, let me just see here. Then you get him a red and white shirt, I will buy it. If they're a red and white, my bad, a black and white. If John Cena has a black and white shirt when he is heel, I have said it before, I will buy it, I will wear it on this show. I will wear it on every show. Not that I'm a John Cena fan, but just seeing John Cena heel would be epic right now. Because that 10 years of space is just going to make me want to go, kind of like Lesnar being champion. But hey, it is what it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this show. Who I think should be world champion at WrestleMania 31. Here we are, 6 months away, roughly, and we already know the main event. I wish WWE would see this video and realize how great Bray Wyatt is and how great that match would be, but they won't. So, that wraps up the video of the WWE Champions in the past 20 years, who I want to see going forward as a world champion. Stay tuned for postseason baseball and for NFL week-to-week picks, and previews and reviews of pay-per-views. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.